What's going on, Legionnaires, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. If you're new to the channel, do me a favor and hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, and make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content we have coming out. So my power finally came back on after that ridiculous storm that hit last night. Everything's fine. I'm good. I appreciate those that raised concern. We just had power outage, but now that it's back on, we're going to dive into these issues. And so for today, we got 3 videos coming your way. Be sure to tune into the channel tomorrow, and we're going to have some more stuff from DC and Marvel Comics. But for this video, we're going to be jumping into Heroes Reborn, issue number 3. Now, if you haven't been keeping up with this line, go ahead and check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It's going to get you completely caught up on everything going on in this line. Now, this is written by Jason Aaron, and this issue, we're going to be focusing on Blur, on Stanley Stewart. Now, Stanley Stewart, he's essentially the Speedster Supreme's The Flash. And with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright guys, so this issue, it picks us up, and it's kind of a little backstory on who Stanley is, on who Blur is. He's an individual that's not just fast, but he's smart. He's got mystic hacks that let him watch 12 different televisions from 12 other dimensions. At times, he'll laugh so hard, he vibrates literally through his furniture. But one of the biggest things about him is that his mind works so fast as he constantly is losing train of thought. He burns through shoes so fast, his shoe wardrobe is bigger than most people's houses. This is a guy who literally is working 20 phones at the same time. He's talking to 10 different girls. He's got dates with 5 different girls. He's someone that can multitask on a level that is incomprehensible to anything we understand. And while he has all of this stuff going on, he doesn't really have time for a personal life. Because with the Speedster Supreme, he's always out doing something. He's always having someone to save or some mission to go on. Ever since that fateful jog that he took through the strange mystical mist, which magically altered his body chemistry, he went from mail carrier, window washer, dog walker, barista, computer programmer, to a full-fledged speedster. Now, as he's sitting here filling us in on all of this information, he goes to tell us about a story, but he gets sidetracked. He gets sidetracked and tells us about a mission that he went on where he got trapped in a secret Russian lair of Soviet super bears, hailing from a city known as Grizzly City. And so really it's showing 2 things here. It's showing how fast his mind jumps all over the place. And 2, it's showing what is actually out there and how easily he can traverse dimensions without any kind of issues. And while he's telling us the story of these bears, he realizes that he gets sidetracked. And the issue is sometimes he doesn't even remember what year it is. He doesn't remember if this event already happened, if it's going to happen, or if it is happening right now. He has traveled time so much that sometimes he gets confused. He doesn't remember exactly what time era he's in. But this is when he starts to fill us in on exactly what's going on right now in present day situation. Because this all started in Washington, D.C. And this is where we see the Blur getting chased down by Silver Witch. And she is doing her best to try to catch him using super speed hexes, trying to get the Blur taken down so she can finally have her revenge. Because Scarlet Witch, or Silver Witch in this, she blames the Blur for the death of her brother, for the death of Quicksilver. And as they're sitting here having this super race, he's cocky. He knows he's faster. He knows that he is better than her. And so the whole time they're doing this, he's live streaming it to all of his social media followers, kind of giving them a rundown of exactly what's going on here. And he's just letting everybody know, right now he's being attacked by the Silver Witch because she blames him for the death of her no-good brother, whose speed power she had absorbed after he burned himself out trying to keep up with Blur. And he tells everyone, post in the comments, let me know how you want me to take down this rogue. But the Silver Witch, she has a trick up her sleeve, and we see her use her powers and literally rip the soul out of Blur. His cockiness, his arrogance, it's finally caught up with him. Nighthawk has always said that this is his biggest downfall and that it could be the cause of his death one day. And now he's sitting here realizing how badly he just messed up. And this is where we see the Silver Witch standing over his body with his soul wrapped up. letting him know that he needs to wake up and stand up because she wants him to die exactly how Quicksilver did, on his feet and screaming. And so what's happening here is the Silver Witch, she kind of took a chunk of his soul with her chaos magic, and then she dragged him into the Dread Dimension. Just imagine the worst place possible in your mind and times it by 10, and that's what the Dread Dimension is. And as it stands, all the witch has to do is keep Blur astral self away from his physical form, from his physical body, and doing this, he will wither away and slowly die. And so the race is on. The race through the Dread Dimension. And we see the Blur take off, making his way through the mindless that are in the Dread Dimension. And he even gives credit to the Silver Witch. Not only did she outsmart him, but she is fast. She's very fast. But this also isn't the Blur's first time with a super race through the impossible. He has literally raced from one side of the multiverse all the way to the other, against death itself and her ring-powered infinity chopper. He's outran an army of masquerading microscopic Ultrons through Hyperion's lower intestines. He's even raced through time itself to stop Doom 2099 and keep him from making about the worst muck-up of American history ever. But this is what gives him an idea, because he can run faster than light and vibrate out of sync of himself sometimes. And he'll go streaking through his own timeline. And next thing he knows, he's re-racing some of his greatest showdowns, to include none other than Johnny Blaze, which in this reality, Johnny Blaze is known as the Ghost Runner. And these two, they had raced so hard. They had raced so hard and so long that Johnny Blaze, his bones literally melted. But finally, we see him catching up to the Silver Witch. And as he's catching up, the Silver Witch, she can feel his power fading. Not only can she feel this, but she can feel a rift in this reality. She knows that something feels off. And she thinks maybe if they end up killing Blur, that it may reverse something. And this is when Blur shows up trying to get his soul. And the Silver Witch is letting him know, like, a soul shouldn't be that easy to disconnect from a body. There is something unnatural about you being alive. And this is where she really shows him how much of a nothing he really is. And this is where she takes his speed with 3 simple words: no more speed. And just like that, Blur is a clumsy, regular dude. You know, the next thing he knows, he feels like he's getting stuck in liquid adamantium, like he can barely move. And he can see her just slowly walking away, but there's nothing he can do. He feels as if he is completely helpless. He goes to stand up to move with some kind of purpose, but he has nothing in the tank whatsoever. And as he drops to his knees, he remembers a moment from years ago in Tibet, the mystical monastery where he really learned how to control his powers. And this is actually kind of sad right here, because in the beginning, you know, Stanley, he had such a hard time because he couldn't go to sleep. He couldn't steady his mind long enough to be able to go to sleep. Everything was running 1,000 times a minute. And so at this point, he hasn't slept for months. And it's soon and slowly driving him mad. But up in these mountains, he learned how to slow himself down, how to take that time and really be able to calm his mind, to be able to control his powers. You know, there's just some races you can't win by running. It took him a long time to learn that lesson. It took him 17 days to be exact. Sitting there, staring at a dumb flower, starving, going insane. It took him 17 days to see what the flower had to show him. You know, his mind, it moves so fast sometimes, he forgets. He forgets even who he is. But in this moment, he remembers. He remembers that he is Stanley Stewart, that he is the Blur. He is the fastest mortal alive. Because at the end of the day, Blur knows what it is to see, to truly see, with all his focus and all of his eyes, to see the life racing fast past him, just beyond the doors of his perception. And to see everything, you have to slow it down. And that's exactly what he does. You know, there's life all around people that they rarely recognize, and that would truly terrify them because it's dimensions that we can't even see. But his eyes can take it. And this is where we see the Blur come riding in on a Wraith Whale. He comes riding in and crashing the party of Silver Witch. And it doesn't take long, though it doesn't show us, he beats the Scarlet Witch. He beats Silver Witch. And he gets his soul back from her. Using the whale to get back to their dimension, he drops Wanda off at the old home in Ravencroft with all the rest of the super lunatics. Now, as it stands, he doesn't necessarily have his speed power back yet. He's got to wait for this hex to wear off. But we pick up a couple of days later, and it seems that the hex had to have worn off because now he's preparing for a race. And we see him stretching. We see him getting ready to go for one of the best races he's ever gone for. And this is where he races against Dr. Spectrum. Now, this is where we're taken to Ravencroft. And inside Ravencroft, we see Bullseye. Bullseye messing with some other inmates, if you will, inside of Ravencroft, threatening to kill them with merely a tooth. And as he's sitting here threatening this guy, we see a little rat come crawling in. And as the rat comes crawling in, it literally is on fire. And it comes up to Bullseye and just starts burning him. You know, somebody is trying to keep all the evil that is inside here, trying to keep it in check from hurting anybody else that's inside here. And that person trying to keep everything in check is the Phoenix, aka Echo. Because right now, the Phoenix is at Ravencroft. She's at Ravencroft because she's confused. She doesn't really understand what's going on. She knows that something's wrong with reality. You know, and she believes that it can't be a coincidence that she just gained this cosmic power of the Phoenix whenever all of this happened. You know, she woke up and realized that the reality she knew was gone and somehow remade during the night. And while she can't understand everything that the Phoenix Force can do, she does know that it's a gluttonous beast that is always hungry, the way a bonfire hungers for a barrel of gasoline. If the whole world went away, she has to question if it's because she couldn't control her powers. You know, and she knows that she could leave Ravencroft at any time she wanted. She could stand up and just fly away, but she doesn't, because that's what the Phoenix would do. And right now, sometimes just being an echo of what comes before isn't enough. Sometimes you have to be different. Now, as she's sitting here on the rooftop contemplating literally her entire existence, this is when we see the arrival of Blade. Not only Blade, but of Captain America as well. And Captain America lets her know right off the bat, like straight up, like, your power, it literally terrifies me. Even in the hands of someone who's wielded it for years. And according to Blade, the last we saw, you had just gotten a hold of the Phoenix. Or it had gotten a hold of you. A power that can literally destroy worlds. But that just happens to be exactly what they need right now. They need to be able to burn this whole reality down and hopefully bring back the world that they lost. But they're going to need a lot more than a shield and some fangs. And this is where Captain America lets her know that they are putting a team together. And without hesitation, she is already in. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. You know, I know there's been a lot of speculation on how Captain America was able to give a handshake to Hyperion and hurt him. And I've seen a lot of theories saying that it's the super soldier serum has been perfected in this reality, which is a great theory. And I think that's actually what they're going to go with. I think they're going to run with that and use the super serum idea that they actually perfected it. Steve Rogers never just got out of the ice, and it never went any further than that. But I think this was a really great story of the Blur. You know, a lot of people aren't 100% on board with this line, but I'm enjoying it because we're seeing the Squadron Supreme in a more updated, new era kind of way. But at the same time, we're seeing our original heroes realizing that this is not the right reality. Something has gone haywire and we have to fix it. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you haven't yet already, please do me a favor, hit that sub button, hit the notification bell, make sure you don't miss any of the awesome content we have coming out, and until the next video.